Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. And this is your weekly reading where we dig into what's going on with the weekly energy, what the angels want you to know, and how you can make the most of the weekly energy. So we're going to be talking about what has come through for me in terms of understanding what's to come in the energy this week and how we can make the most of it. And then we will build upon that, build upon the messages with the tarot cards that I've pulled to just help to give us a little bit more insight as to what to expect and what we need to know. This is an important time for sure. The first thing that I want to address is what we have had going on in the energy that's kind of building up to this. I called this video the activation and the chance to do it differently, because there very much is an energy of an activation. But I want to acknowledge some things that have been going on. There's been a lot of spiritual videos. Maybe you guys have seen some of these where they're addressing what has been happening with the Schumann resonance over the weekend, over the past few days, where that had gone off the charts. And so when I was feeling into that, you know, people have all kinds of theories around this. So I want to acknowledge that and I want to honor that, because certainly they're feeling what it is that they're feeling. But when I feel into it, it doesn't feel to me to be the things that other people have been presenting it as. So when I talk about, by the way, the Schumann resonance, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is like the heartbeat of the earth. This is a measurement of where the energy is at. And so there have been theories about that shifting our DNA, and that the way that that presented was signifying a significant level up with the energy. And while I think that we are receiving levels up with the energy, I actually feel as though this is coming in with the solstice, with the summer solstice, which is not until tomorrow. And so I didn't feel the same intensity with the energy. Do I feel that the energy is intense right now? Absolutely. But did I feel on an energetic level the things that people have been implying are happening or feeling are happening? No. And so when I checked in with that, what I was shown is that that was actually just some kind of like some kind of like a glitch or a malfunction, and not really an accurate reading of what's happening. Now, keep in mind, there's still a lot going on with the energy. I just don't think that what people have proposed was happening, or this big major breakthrough that was proposed to be happening is what that was. So I want to acknowledge that, but I do feel like there's a major activation that is coming in with this summer solstice. So I'll be really curious to see what the Schumann resonance, what the solar flares, what all of that looks like around that. And so speaking of that, we got a major solar flare today, an X-class solar flare. I believe that was around 1:30 Eastern or so, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but sometime in the early afternoon, maybe 2, I can't remember. But definitely an energy that I felt, definitely a powerful energy. And a lot of times we receive these solar flares. People have all kinds of different responses to those. So it can be feeling anxious. It can be just feeling like there's this surge of power flowing through your body. It can feel, I've been feeling really tired today, really slow moving today. So it can be that kind of stuff. It can be sinus pressure. There's so many different ways that we receive these energies. These are basically a response to the ascension, because when we get solar flares, it is helping to bring more light onto the planet, and our bodies and our energy fields are working toward ascending. So we had that. I believe that over the past few days, we've had like 6 M-class solar flares as well. So if you've been feeling an intensity, to me, like that's more the source of where that's coming from. And so we really just want to make sure that we're grounding ourselves extra, that we're connecting to the earth. You can listen to, I believe it's off the top of my head, 728 hertz music that will help to connect you to the earth resonance. If you just look up like what is the earth resonance number, you will find that. And there's a lot of great videos on YouTube, things like that, where you can connect with that frequency. And I find when we're getting a lot of powerful energies like this, that's really, really helpful to use, to sleep with, to meditate to, or just to have playing in the background of your home. So that's my sense of it. And I think that we are now starting to receive even more intense energy. So if you feel off, if you feel anxious, if you feel like this surge of energy that's flowing through, that's in part what's happening. And sometimes just to acknowledge that it's just the energy is helpful in terms of us not getting into our heads. So I was feeling that and I was thinking that, and then I went to pull cards, and the card that I pulled from my shaman deck was the summer solstice card, okay? And it says radiance on it as well. So that to me made it that much more clear that that's what's happening, is that my sense of that and what I was shown with that is pretty accurate. But I also think on a collective level, maybe people were sensing that there are some major shifts. I just think it's going to be a little bit more progressive. I don't feel like we energetically can handle that. We've already been navigating a lot. And so for there to be a major, major, major level up, I think it would be a little bit too much for our systems right now, if that makes sense. But it does feel like some kind of an activation. And so when I say activation, what I mean by that is it feels as though, to me, part of what's happening, and this is the vision that I saw, was like parts of us are being activated. And in some senses, like these are new parts of us, right? New intuitive gifts, new abilities, new awareness, new clarity. But it also feels like parts of us are being activated that at one point in time in our lives, we've been connected to, but we've been disconnected from. And maybe we didn't even realize that we got disconnected from it, right? But maybe there are parts of yourself that in childhood were a big part of your personality, or things that you really loved to do in childhood that you really moved away from, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself really pulled to reconnect with that. Or maybe you're noticing that all of a sudden, you know, these qualities within you that, you know, let's use leadership, for example, because that came up in a session today. These leadership qualities that you demonstrated very clearly as a child and felt disconnected from later in life, you may find all of a sudden you're feeling really called to step in and lead again, or to connect with those leadership qualities. So these are the kinds of things I need. It just feels like parts of ourselves that have been offline for a while, and maybe our entire lives, right? Because I do feel like there's some new stuff coming in as well, are now being activated through this energy. So you may find that while it feels intense, it's also incredibly empowering, because these are things that we're meant to connect with. So that's really beautiful. Now, the other part of the title that I have going on, or that I have included for this video, is that there is a chance to do things differently. And I think that we're going to be in this energy for a little while now. There's a chance to do things differently. When I connected with the energy, that's what I heard. The chance to do things differently. This can mean many different things, and I think that this will mean many different things for all of us. So for some, this may feel like, a chance to reconnect with someone, or to connect with somebody and to approach that connection in a different way than you did in the past. Or we may find that there are opportunities where we can look back on our past and we recognize, you know what, I really didn't handle that in a way that I liked, or in a way that served me or the situation really well. We might look back on that and we might find ourselves in a situation where we get an opportunity to make it right in some way, to do it differently in some way. And it might not even be the same situation or the same person that we're interacting with, right? But it's a similar energy, and we recognize that we're being given an opportunity to do it differently in some way, to handle it differently in some way, to perceive it differently in some way, to approach it differently in some way. So you get the idea, and I'm having a difficult time coming up with examples because I think that this is going to be really broad and expansive and really different. So what I would do is start to notice, and this isn't just this week, but start to notice where you're being called to handle something in a different way than you handled it in the past, or where you're literally watching a situation come up that feels so similar to the past, or maybe even the past is showing up again in your life in some way, shape, or form, and you have this opportunity to do it differently this time. Everybody who's involved in that has to choose that, right? But you get to choose your actions, your behaviors, how you're going to respond, and I think that there's going to be some really beautiful opportunities related to that, right? Maybe even opportunities that you turned down in the past and now you feel open. Or again, maybe you responded to something out of fear in the past and now you're saying, no, you know what? I'm not gonna let fear shut me down this time. I'm not gonna let this prevent me from living the life that I wanna live, that I feel called to live, that my soul is guiding me. So I think that if we just are allowing our soul to guide us throughout this whole journey, that's going to set us up for success, and that's going to show us exactly where we need to be going. I definitely think too, in relation to this, that we're going to have some important run-ins with people, important connections with people that's going to be sparking this entire process. So notice who you're running into, notice who you're connecting with, notice who's entering into your life right now, because all of this feels really powerful, especially here around this summer solstice, which I'm filming this on Tuesday, comes up on Wednesday. So that's going to be a really powerful time. Notice the emotions that are coming up for you, right? We also enter into Cancer season, and that's going to bring in, at least for me, it always creates a month that's a little bit more emotional than the other months. So notice that, right? There's a way to use the energy every single time that it comes up, and we can use that as a way to heal and release and feel what we need to feel and emote the things that we need to emote, right? So also doing that, but maybe in this situation, we are also learning, how do I not let my emotions run away with me? How do I not operate from a place of emotion and instead operate from where it is that my soul is leading me? And this is a great season for us to practice that, because if you can master it during Cancer season, you can master it anytime, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the cards that we have. So I mentioned that we have this summer solstice card, this radiance card. That to me was just that validation of what I was saying about the energies, but it also feels like there is very much this radiance that is wanting to come out. Let the sun, let this time period light you up, let you be radiant, let you sparkle, let you shine. This is so key. And part of this is going to mean five of wands in reverse. Releasing the things that are bringing challenge into your life. And I'm not saying all of the things, but you may find that through simply choosing to disconnect from certain things, or to not worry about certain things, or to let go of certain things, or to approach something in a different way, that you're allowing yourself to release some of the burden, some of the challenge, some of the conflict, okay? I think that we need to rethink some things this week and to do things differently. I was talking in one of my other videos about letting things be easier, right? And how can we let things be easier? How can we allow more ease in our lives? And I think part of that comes with just setting the intention. I now allow ease to be part of my experience. My life is easy. Things are easy for me. The situation is easy for me. However you want to say that, whatever works and aligns for you, but inviting that ease. And part of inviting that ease is in also recognizing the circumstances in our lives, or the connections in our lives that are creating difficulty or creating resistance, that that we don't even necessarily just want. Maybe we're just connected to that out of habit, or it's just always been the way that we've approached things. But I think that there's room for mixing it up and doing things differently as we move forward. We also have the Page of Pentacles. And I think that here in this energy, this is an opportunity to plant new seeds in our lives in whatever way we are feeling called, right? But I think that if you're thinking about like getting started with something, just laying the foundation of something, this is a really great week to plant that seed. This is a really great time to plant that seed, whether it's intentions, whether it's actions, whatever this is, just beginning to get started. I think you'll know what this is. I think that you'll know where you're feeling called to plant the seed and what it is that you need to do with that. Maybe you're focusing on manifestation. We're still kind of in that new moon energy, and it's a great time to manifest, especially here around this summer solstice. So how do you intentionally manifest? Can you focus on holding the vision of the things that you're wanting to create and really beginning to foster that seed that you've just planted? And how can you do that? 8 of Cups in reverse. We might be revisiting some things, right? It might be revisiting relationships. It might be revisiting how we showed up in a relationship or how we showed up in certain circumstances and where we want to do that differently moving forward, right? Like I said, the chance to do it differently. And that this card to me is really talking about that. Where do I want to do it differently this time? Where am I being offered an opportunity to do it differently this time? And how can I learn from the past without holding a lot of guilt and shame around that, but instead learn from it and use that to create better for ourselves moving forward. The 4 of Cups. I feel like this is like opportunities coming in where we aren't expecting it, right? Where we're just kind of maybe focusing on doing our work or taking care of those things that feel kind of boring, right? And all of a sudden, just out of the blue, beautiful opportunities are coming in. And I think right now, this is a time of yes overall, unless your intuition is saying it's a time of no, because not every situation is going to be right for you. But where are you feeling called to say yes? Where are you feeling called to, again, do it differently? Take that opportunity. Maybe you turned an opportunity down and now you're ready to take it. You're ready to embrace it. You're ready to be open to it. So this is a beautiful time of yes. And I think that it's going to come in kind of unexpectedly, kind of surprisingly. The next card that we have here is, speaking of that, 2 kings right next to each other, right? King of Cups, King of Swords. Feeling clear on things, clarity on what we need to do. So I think that if you're not clear on some things, you will be clear. What do I need to do? How do I need to approach this? What is going to be the best way? And I think that clarity has come through this work that we've been doing. This is also about speaking our truth and saying those things that we need to say, expressing those things that we need to say. And being willing to move with what we're thinking about, to take action on our thoughts, be willing to say those things that maybe we feel a little hesitant in saying, but we need to say them anyway because our soul is calling for that. And this is us with this King of Cups listening to our soul while at the same time, learning how to master our emotions. I really feel like this next month is going to be about mastering our emotions, learning how to take such good care of ourselves that we learn how to bring ourselves into balance, and that we're not so easily yanked all over the place by emotion, by circumstances, and we're able to stand stronger in our peace. And I think that we're going to see opportunities for that here this week to get started on that process. So I think that that's going to be really, really powerful. So I hope that these messages resonate with you guys. If they do, please hit that like button. It helps to support my channel, and it also helps to connect your energy with any of my readings that I'm doing here in the future. If you guys, I would love to hear from you in comments if you feel called, or if you feel called to share this with somebody who needs to hear these messages as well. I feel like this is an important week, and these are important messages. So let that all sink in. Share that with people who you feel also need to hear these messages. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.